What has anime done for me? Well, it's done more than I could ever put into words, because when you witness something truly great, you just become enveloped in its enormity, and ends up resonating with you so much. It all began with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z during my childhood years. How it affected me deeply since it presented me something I had never experienced before. How a transformation can hold so much meaning behind it and make us understand the true potential we have. I wanted more of that. More shonen, more slice of life, more everything. How a show like Clannad After Story completely changed my life. How a show like Evangelion made me think about my identity in such a deep and meaningful way. Or how Ghost in the Shell made me think about the society we live in and how it can depict each of us. And thus began to see the similarities between anime and cinema. Because I have also lost myself in the wonder of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I have been impacted profoundly by the slice of life nature of The Breakfast Club, or even laughing at Buster Keaton's unbelievable slapstick humor in The General. I have watched anime, I have watched cinema, and every time I do so, I grow a little more. I understand myself in a way that only this wonderful media can do, from the perspective of the story to its visuals. But while many talk about these legendary anime and films, there is one that has yet to be fully appreciated in the same way, that closes the gap that many perceive to exist between anime and cinema, and how it touches us so deeply, but more so how it saved my life. All thanks to two words, and that anime is called Euphonium. The anime starts off by presenting us our protagonist, Kumiko Omae, who has just seen her junior high win gold in a concert band competition. However, it was not enough to go through to the next stage. But regardless, our main character is still happy. It was a dud gold, but gold nonetheless. But then she looks to her left and sees a girl crying her eyes out, so passionately, so full of emotions. At first, Kumiko believes she is crying out of happiness. But no, that's not it. She is distraught, completely heartbroken, unable to contain what she is feeling, and utters the following words: "I'm so upset, I could die." Kumiko is slightly dumbfounded, and, without thinking twice, replies, "Did you really think we could make the nationals?" Kumiko suddenly reacts surprised, as if she didn't mean to say that. And then, the girl next to her once again utters those words: "I'm so upset. I'm so totally upset." Our main character then simply looks at her, not knowing what to say, and thus begins our journey through this singular show. What I love about this opening scene is that it tells you everything about both Kumiko and the girl that was crying next to her, Reina Kosaka. Kumiko is simply content with the little that she did. Reina is furious having not been able to do more. It's this juxtaposition that will further develop these characters in their journey through high school, in their journey through the concert band club, and how the new teacher will push all of our characters to their fullest potential, especially with our brown-haired floof girl herself, where we listen to her thoughts constantly. And I truly believe that this is the best use of voiceover I have ever seen in any form of media, because many times what she says and thinks is in itself a contradiction, almost as if Kumiko is painting herself to be someone nice, but doesn't actually want to get involved that much. And her thoughts show a more honest side to her personality. How she is, well, not so nice. She many times thinks about how blunt she wants to be, but decides to hold back until she unexpectedly blurts out something she didn't plan to do, as she did with Reina in the opening scene of the show. And thus, everyone reacts around her in such a stunned way, almost as if they appreciate her honesty, including Reina herself. And it's thanks to this passionate character that we start to see Kumiko open up a bit more, peel away the shell that she has created all her life, until she becomes a driving force that will push every other character, and thus push herself too. What I love about this is that Kumiko progresses in a way that is so unique. As Reina puts it, she has a terrible personality, and I totally agree with her, but not as an insult. It's what makes her interesting. It's what gives her a personality that differs from everyone else in the show. But most of all, that differs from every other protagonist we've ever encountered. She is an unlikable character, and that's what makes her extremely likable. She is not as sweet and pure as Nagisa is in Clannad Afterstory. She is not as lost as Violet is in Violet Evergarden. She is not as goofy as Yui is in K-On! She is not as blunt as Haruhi is in The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. She is all of these at once. She is nice on the outside, but blunt on the inside. She has a strong personality, but is also completely lost in what she wants to do in her life. And she is many times clumsy, whether it's her honesty being blurted out or just the way that she walks. It's the amalgamation of all of these traits that makes her such a realistic protagonist. She is a young teenage girl that genuinely feels like one. She is imperfect. She is real. But what enhances this further is how everything is shown, and it's through this lens where the show really shines. For example, right after the opening scene of the show, we see Kumiko walk through a path full of sakura trees, and I just love how this is presented to us, showing us a wide shot of Kumiko slightly to the left hand side of the frame with so many cherry blossoms falling around her. How the use of a blur is used to almost make it seem like it's almost a dream, but what it is truly doing is making us see what Kumiko is seeing. The beauty in the scenery itself, contrasting with the thoughts that she is having. Ones that she even recognizes to be somewhat unimportant, but are clearly important to her. Bear in mind that this is only the second scene of the entire show. One where we are already witnessing the effects of what I like to call Kyoto Animation's special camera. Because surely this can't be animated. And that's what Euphonium does constantly throughout its 2 seasons, but more so how it does it. While other anime want to portray beautifully animated scenes through action, Euphonium does it through still imagery, as if we were watching an animated version of an HBO show. And granted, this isn't the only anime that has this approach. There are many shows or films out there that focus on the subtleties of trying to portray realism through animation. Mamoru Soda is a master when it comes to just moving the frame to show something that was hidden for just an instant. Makoto Shinkai is astounding with the amount of detail and wonder he puts in his films to capture the magic of one's emotions. But Naoko Yamada and Tatsuya Ishihara, the directors of Euphonium, are by far the best when it comes to the movement and expression of the characters themselves, especially when they are surrounded by wonderful imagery. It's through their minimal actions that results in something so powerful, whether it's showing the characters' legs as a gateway to their personalities, or the mere look a character gives that can mean so much to them. I'm going to use one scene as an example, a scene from its first season, a scene that truly took my breath away. And that comes from Kumiko's and Reiner's first proper interaction. One that taught Kumiko something so valuable. One that was shown through Reiner's words and actions. And that is the unforgettable hike scene. Now, while this following scene could be considered as a spoiler, I feel it is necessary for me to talk about it. That is, in case you still need convincing to watch this show. Because this is merely the first of many awe-inspiring moments that this anime offers in terms of its jaw-dropping cinematic visuals. Moments that ramp up more and more to its eventual ending of Season 2. Moments that just make us say, wow, just as this hike scene does. It starts with Reina convincing Kumiko to step away from the town festival, to show our protagonist something exceptionally unique. And thus, we eventually reach a place where we simply look at the enormity of this town, making us view it in such a gorgeous manner, using so many real-life camera techniques, through the use of a bouquet that separates Reina from the greatness of the beauty itself, the use of wind to ever so slightly blow their hairs gently, the subtle movement of Reina when she finds out something about Kumiko, or the shock in Kumiko's eyes when Reina points towards our main character's forehead, and how the movement of the hand slips down to touch her lips, both to demonstrate the passion that Reina has in playing the trumpet, but also to close the gap between each other. It's not just beautiful for the sake of it, it's beautiful for a reason. To show Kumiko the allure of what it means to want to do something different, to not be like everyone else, to be vulnerable. Because you should let yourself come out. You should showcase who you are and what you want to be. Let's not be the same as everyone else. Let's be different. Let's be special. And it's through this understanding that both share their first deep connection with each other. It's like I'm witnessing something in a sports anime where our protagonist is coming to terms with their special abilities, or a shonen where our main character is starting to understand their true potential. Only here, there are no fantasy elements or hype music to convey this in the most epic way possible. No, it's practically all still shots, through amazing composition that suddenly move ever so slightly when needed. It's such an incredibly exquisite scene that left me with my jaw dropped on the floor and I didn't know what to say. I was completely speechless. I had never seen anything like this, and all I was thinking was, how are not more people talking about this? Not that there isn't a really big community that already loves this show, and it was actually thanks to it that I decided to start watching this masterpiece in the first place. But it needs more, way more, because it truly deserves all of the praise, thanks to its heartfelt story and immeasurable visuals. Whether it's using the framing of the shots to portray a clock ticking, or how the still imagery is used to hide a certain character's expressions when she is forced into a really tense situation. How it closes in on our characters' eyes as if we were witnessing the universe itself, or just the warmth of the sun slightly shining on our protagonist's face. How it slowly reveals the mystery of why Kumiko was someone closed off in the first place, or other characters who have trouble opening up to each other. There are so many moments that I've truly lost count. Every episode is masterfully crafted, with intent, with deeper meaning. And there is one scene that I do have to talk about. One that you do not wish to be spoiled, because it's that good. And so, go watch the show first so you avoid yourself from being spoiled one of the best scenes I've ever seen in my life. Once you do, you will understand why, and you can then watch the rest of this video. Because if the hike scene is Kumiko's first perception of who she truly is, then what I'm going to talk about is the transformation itself. A moment that has forever lingered in my mind since, and how it did so much for me. Our main character has been working really hard to train as best as she can, to participate in a very important musical section alongside her mentor and bandmate Asuka Tanaka. We see Kumiko train every day and night, working hard between breaks and after school to become the Euphonium player she so desperately wants to be, training under the burning heat, which perfectly conveys her sweat and effort. It's the first time in her life that she has worked as hard as this to achieve anything, to reach something, and you can tell that she has improved so much. Thanks to how Kyoto Animation does such a magnificent job in portraying both the perfection and flaws that people go through when playing in a concert band. You can just hear the subtleties in how Kumiko's sound is slowly becoming more and more nuanced, more perfect. And so, after working so tremendously hard, after doing everything that she can to be a part of that musical section, after everything she went through, the teacher wants Asuka to play that part alone. Meaning, Kumiko wasn't able to be good enough. And just like that, all of her efforts were for nothing, making her ruminate constantly about her defeat, about her failure, until she walks alone at night next to the river of her hometown. She starts to remember the times she worked so hard on, and hear those devastating words one more time. She is so angry, so sad, that all she can do is run as fast as she can and utter the same two words, Umaku Naritai, which basically means that she wants to improve. And she says it again and again and again. Umaku Naritai, Umaku Naritai, Umaku Naritai. Until she stops and thinks to herself, I'm so upset, I could die. And it's there and then that she realizes what she has become. She now truly understands what Reina was feeling in the opening scene. She is distraught for not being able to achieve what she set out for, and brings new life to Kumiko. Our protagonist has transformed. She is no longer disconnected from her emotions. She is no longer going through life aimlessly. She now has a purpose and is doing whatever it takes to do so. She has failed, but she wants to improve more and more, to become the best possible Euphonium player, to become special. And once again, I was experiencing what I had gone through with so many anime and cinema in the past. It's Goku transforming into a Super Saiyan. It's Hinata doing the free quick attack. It's Shinji having his moment of epiphany. It's Neo realizing he is the one. It's Luke becoming a Jedi. It's cinema at its finest. And it's everything we want to see in an anime. But more importantly, it's one that saved my life. Because last year, I went through a moment like this. A moment that took 2 hours to go through. A moment that shook me to my core. How I was so lost. How I became so hurt due to everything I had gone through. Because I did all that I could. Because I worked so hard to become the person I wanted to be. And every time I felt closer to that, I took an enormous step back to what the world wanted me to do. I was so terribly sad, but no tears were falling out from my eyes. I was so hopeless, but no emotions were being conveyed. I was devoid of any feelings, devoid of life, and thinking if all of this was worth it. I was so upset I could die. But then something happened. Something awoke inside me. Something let me know that there was something worth fighting for. And that was me. I wanted to fight for who I wanted to be. I wanted to be different than everyone else. I wanted to be special. And decided that it wasn't going to end there. In fact, it was just beginning. Because I wanted to improve. I wanted to be someone great. Someone that I could be proud of. And so I said to myself, Umaku naritai, over and over and over again. Umaku naritai, umaku naritai, umaku naritai. And now I'm here, talking to you, explaining why I love this show so much. Showing my love for anime, for cinema, but most of all, for life. I have something to fight for, myself. All thanks to 2 simple words, to umaku naritai. And all I can say to Kumiko is this. I used to hate you, but now I love you. Because you really do hold the power, the essence of what it truly means to sound Euphonium. And that is what anime has done for me.